Hi everyone, welcome to your lesson on diseases. So we're going to go over a couple different types of diseases in this lesson and build upon microbes. So a disease outbreak happens when a disease occurs in greater numbers than expected in a community, region, or during a season. Disease outbreaks can last from days to years. Sometimes a single disease can be considered an outbreak if it is a new disease in a new place. So this is a cool slide that shows you global infectious disease deaths by region. So if we look across the x-axis on the bottom, we look at sub-Saharan Africa, South and Southeast Asia, Europe, the Middle East, Americas, East Asia and Pacific, and then globally at the very right. And then the different colors in the bar represent different types of diseases. Neglected tropical diseases. So there's lots of different types of diseases that can happen when you live in the tropics. So that means somebody got a disease and then didn't get it taken care of. Diarrhea is actually considered a disease, and a lot of people die from it. If you look at it, it's that like light colored teal that is actually the biggest bar in the global section. So globally, more people die from diarrhea than anything else. And that's because if diarrhea is left untreated, you can get dehydrated and very quickly die from it. Vaccine preventable diseases, that is the purple color. That means people are dying from diseases that they could have gotten a vaccine from. Malaria is the green, and if you look globally, the green global and the green sub-Saharan Africa is almost the same size, if not exactly, except for the Middle East has a little bar, and Southeast Asia has a little bar. Malaria is caused from mosquitoes, and that is something that can be prevented with proper equipment, if you will. And tuberculosis is the red, and then AIDS is the bluish color that is also in sub-Saharan Africa. So if you look at the higher rates of global infectious disease deaths, you can definitely notice a correlation between the lower deaths in the higher developed countries, the more developed countries, and the higher deaths in the less developed countries. So there's two different types of diseases. There are epidemics and pandemics. Both terms refer to the spread of infectious disease in a population. They refer to the rate of infection and or the area that's infected. But there are two in an epidemic and a pandemic, and that's what we're going to go over in this lesson. With an epidemic, it's an illness or health-related issue that's showing up in more cases than would normally be expected. It occurs when an infectious disease spreads rapidly to many people. It spreads to many people in a certain area, but it doesn't spread all over the world. So an example is in 2003, SARS, it's a respiratory disease, sudden acute respiratory syndrome, took the lives of about 800 people worldwide. Malaria can reach epidemic levels in Africa, but is not a threat worldwide, so it wouldn't become a pandemic. And the prefix pan means all. So if it's a pandemic, then it's affecting people all over the world in very large numbers. And SARS affected people worldwide, but not in very large numbers. 800 people seems like a lot, but compared to the amount of people in the world, it's not. This is a great map showing you the spread of disease and how diseases can spread. And the main way is by travel, obviously. So you can see these lines are going to different places from all over they're traveling from one place to different places all over the world. And if you have, 7 different people going from one place and there are 7 infected people traveling to 7 very different countries and continents, then you are spreading disease really, really fast. And you can see here by the different arrows at the bottom in Europe and Southeast Asia how quickly the disease is travel. A pandemic is used to indicate a far higher number of people affected than an epidemic. Pan means all and refers to a larger region being affected. Most serious case would be a global. A flu strain can start out as an epidemic but can also become a pandemic. This is not unusual for a new virus because people's immune systems have not been exposed to it and are not ready to fight it off. An example, the swine flu started in Mexico City and is now in New Zealand, Israel, Scotland, and many others. Another example of a pandemic is the 1918 Spanish flu and the Black Plague. These are examples of extreme examples of pandemics. Keep in mind that a pandemic does not necessarily mean millions of deaths. It does mean, though, that it is geographically widespread epidemic. So a lot of more than an epidemic. And this is actually a picture from the 1918 flu.